Welcome to another episode of Tell Us More About That. Today we have actually two of my friends, and Jen just met them for the first time, so that was cool. Loryn Powell and Shawn Casey. They are one of the coolest married couples that I know, and maybe now they've made your list of cool.
They're on
couples.
it. Yep.
Yeah. So today's episode is about the idea kind of evolved a lot, but Loryn has built this social media empire. She started as doing, at least when she started on her own, she started as doing it for kind of testing out and rating seltzers, which is a super random kind of niche market that she created for herself. And
it is my niche market.
It worked out perfect for Jen because that is definitely her market. But she started with doing that, and then it evolved into doing breathalyzer videos for getting to 0.08, and then it's just gone absolutely bonkers since. And they've built a whole brand around it. So she's got the Seltzers brand that her and Shawn created that we talk about a little bit. And then now they've started a podcast called Kapower Hour, just a combination of their two names. And they're just great people. And it's really cool to see real, genuine, good human beings be that successful in promoting themselves. So yeah. It was a great conversation.
Yeah, it's a little behind the scenes of what it's like to be a content creator and have your life kind of plastered on the internet.
Yeah, and that's kind of where the idea came. Is we're all on social media in some aspect for the most part, and just imagining what that must be like to be the one on the other end of that camera, the one making and producing the content, the stress that goes into coming up with creative ideas to constantly produce, put out there, the editing that goes into it. And I just learned this today, but Loryn does all of the editing herself, which is wild. And then dealing with the mental health side of things, of just self-esteem through all of the positive comments, but also all of the extremely negative comments that can come, even if it's a small percentage.
Yeah. Impacts on your view of self, impacts on your relationship, impacts on your family, all those things.
It was a really fun conversation, and enjoy our conversation with Loryn and Shawn. All right. Welcome to another episode of Tell Us More About That. Today we have two guests that are my friends, and Jen's just meeting them 10 minutes ago. For the first time. This episode is going to be on mental health impacts, considerations, kind of all aspects of dealing with being a social media influencer. And some of us, I think all of us at this point probably know what that means, but
I hope so.
Yeah, so we have Loryn and Shawn. I will let them introduce themselves because they will do a much better job with that. But Loryn and Shawn, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Happy to be here.
I'm Loryn Powell. This is my man candy. Shawn.
All of our man candy.
I make internet videos and force my husband into them occasionally.
Tony, it's funny you say that she'll be better at explaining what she does.
Oh, I'm terrible.
She stammers and stuff.
I could see the panic when I said that. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
When I do a podcast, my favorite thing, I'm a little disappointed, Tony. My favorite thing when I do podcast interviews is seeing what the hosts, how they describe my job. Because they do such a good job, and I'm like, can I steal that? Every time I'm like, I should have written that down, because I don't know how to describe what I do. My bio on Instagram just says Seltzers because I'm afraid of not being funny in my bio, so I just don't say anything.
And inevitably, when she's trying to describe what she does, I just see people's minds start to think that she's on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
So I have to interject and be like, it's not OnlyFans. She's on Instagram and TikTok and stuff. It's not OnlyFans.
Because I'll be like, I make internet videos. Why do I say that so oddly?
Well,
I don't know. I thought it was very funny the way you phrased that. I make videos for the internet.
It's definitely a way that somebody that's been making videos for the internet for as long as you've been making them would say it. Like, internet videos is like, I film VHS videos of my family.
But like, I think, the word influencer has a negative connotation to an extent. It's not as much now. But then also, like, I make TikTok videos. I make them for so many different platforms. It's just easier to just say internet or social media videos, maybe.
Yeah. So that's good. So you mentioned this, but you've kind of pulled Shawn now into this professional endeavor, and he's clearly a natural at it. And you guys have now created a whole couples brand around that idea, which has been a lot of fun to follow along and watch. But so we'll get into all that here in a little bit. So I will give a little bit of color to what you do then.
I was going to say, I'm curious to hear how you would
Jen's still like, well, what
describe
exactly is it?
what she does.
So Loryn makes Loryn makes online entertainment. That also sounds like clothed online entertainment.
Oh no.
She makes video shorts on various social media platforms, but all of them are centered around some type of comedy, whether it's couples comedy, and previous to that it was mostly like alcohol centric, but not you getting absolutely hammered, but you walking us through the journey of becoming drunk. And then, yeah, that sounded very nice.
It's very poetic.
I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's where at least I've been following you since for a number of years now. The specific types of videos that Loryn makes and kind of what you've turned into a whole brand is this whole Seltzers thing. So can you give us a little bit of context around what that is as we're drinking seltzers in your honor?
Yeah, I was going to ask what you got.
I saw that.
What is
Okay,
it?
so I ran to Target before this because we needed to get a few things, and I don't normally like Truly. I'm a mango White Claw.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
ride or die.
Yeah, she's
You wish.
And this was a limited edition red, white, and
I was going to say, it looks like their Memorial Day. 4th of
Yeah.
July.
but they have cotton candy now.
yeah, it's delicious.
So this is cotton candy flavored, Truly white or
Oh,
Truly
yeah, that's
seltzer.
new.
It's very good.
Yeah, I got blue raz,
Yeah.
and it's delicious.
You like them? Truly has been through many iterations of their flavor, and there's less misses and more hits now than there used to be with them. That's how I feel.
Okay.
I always liked their mixed berry.
Sure.
Yeah, that was a pretty solid
Sure.
one.
So, Seltzers, can you give
Yeah.
us what exactly? How did that whole thing start?
Yeah. Well, it was April 2020. It was the pandemic, and everybody was drinking a lot in their homes, including myself. And probably the year prior to the pandemic, I tried White Claws for the first time and loved them, and then was like, okay, hard seltzer, I'm all in. And then everyone just started coming out with new packs, and it's like some actually were god awful. And now it's a lot harder to find bad packs. They've really figured out how to make the flavors taste good. But back then it was like, there's so many different packs, you don't want to waste your money because there's probably only like one or two good packs in the whole bunch. So pandemic hit, we were like, let's just go. I'm going to go buy every hard seltzer pack I can find at Total Wine. And like whatever they had. And I think at the time, maybe I got 10 different brands. Maybe, I don't know what the math was, but the first video I ever did reviewing as many seltzers as I could was like 30. I ranked 32 seltzers in one video.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I was ranking 32 seltzers. Shawn, were you in the video? I don't know, maybe at this point. I can't. We did a couple iterations, but I just had a notepad and I was giving all these like technical scores because you can't have round numbers when you're rating 32 seltzers. So it was like 8.7 and a quarter. And then like added up the score of the flavors of each brand to determine which brand was the elite. And that was really fun. It performed pretty well, but also I just felt like I was getting to the bottom of something. And thankfully there were new seltzers dropping like every month, new brands coming out of nowhere. So I just kept making various seltzer review videos, like compilations. And then I kind of was like, let's just do one pack at a time. And I honestly didn't even know. I think you got a shirt made for me that said Seltzers on it for Christmas that year, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And I wore it in a video.
Shawn's brainchild.
No, it's my word.
She came up with the words.
She's
Whoa,
like,
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Hold on.
Bump the brakes.
I said in a video once as a joke.
She's like, yeah, I'm a seltzer expert. What was it?
Yeah.
Like, seltzer expert. A seltzpert.
Yeah. And so then he made a shirt out of it. I wore it in a video and everyone was like, how do we buy that shirt? And I was like, oh, okay. Everyone else thinks they're seltzperts too because they're trying all these different seltzers along with me. And that was where I was like, oh, all right. I thought I was just the seltzpert, but it's like No, we're like
created a movement.
a community of Seltzers.
Yeah.
You're raising other Seltzberts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First
Mother
ones.
of Seltzberts.
Your firstborns, yeah.
Mother dragons, mother Seltzers.
So
Yeah, we
that's
have
kind of.
Our
go
friend's
ahead,
dad
Shawn.
is a trademark lawyer, so we filed a trademark for it, and
Yeah.
I have an e-commerce background, so we built a shop and put Seltzbird on a bunch of clothes, and
People bought them.
it took off. Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's just nuts.
That's amazing.
Okay, so and this is where you guys have a kind of a unique setup going on because Loryn, your focus has always been on the entertainment side, and Shawn, you've had more of a traditional track. Is that fair? You have an MBA and you work in.
I have a real job. Yeah.
Have a real job. So
She does not like to hear that. But yes, I have a more traditional, job.
Well, my fake job bought this house.
Hell yeah.
Well, that's not what I meant, actually. Yeah. I wasn't saying yours isn't real, of course.
No.
I was kidding.
Yeah.
The money's real.
The money's very real. Yeah. Okay, so Shawn, what you do this now, kind of as a part of the couple experience, but what do you do as your day job that doesn't pay for anything?
Yeah, I'm in marketing. I work for a breathalyzer company called Backtrack, and that was actually sort of a really good partnership early on because Loryn was using the breathalyzers in the videos, and one of her first videos was how many White Claws to 0.08, and we have all these breathalyzers sitting around her house, and so she used it in that.
That video.
And it wasn't like Backtrack paid her or anything; she just used it.
That's wild.
Well, because we were trying to figure out how can I do a brand video for Backtrack. And it's like, if Backtrack was going to pay me to do a video, it would have to be very professionally done. I had to be more careful with what I say.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So we froze. We kind of got stuck on like, how do we make this video, when all I really wanted to do was drink White Claws and breathalyze. So then one day I was like, I'm
Just let a girl live.
Shawn was on a call. He was in his office, and I was like, screw it. I'm making this video. I don't have to run it by you because you're not paying me for it. It'll be great brand awareness for Backtrack. It generated a ton of sales and just
I'm sure.
people knowing about a personal breathalyzer, and it's like one of my most viral videos ever, and also the most lucrative video. Like, I didn't need Backtrack to pay me. Organically on Facebook, my ad revenue was really substantial from that video.
So you work marketing for Backtrack, and that's kind of been your background. Were you ever involved in any of, did you ever have any aspirations to do the videos or the podcasting or anything else, or has that all just been kind of organic as Loryn's business has blown up?
Yeah, I don't think I ever growing up thought that I would do that. I've always been. Pardon?
I want to be an influencer, sitting in Detroit, not even knowing what the hell that means.
Yeah. But Loryn, she told her mom when she was 16 years old, I'm leaving and moving to LA. 5, sorry.
I was like,
5 years old.
That's not too bad.
I'm leaving.
Well, her mom knew that she's moving to Los Angeles the first chance that she gets after college. She's going to be an actor, writer. That was never, ever on my radar, but I've always been a pretty, outgoing, boisterous person. I love dressing up. That was actually one of the things that we bonded over when we first met, is that we both had a huge costume trunk, and that we loved dressing up for Halloween and being in character. And so, without being on screen and being an influencer, I was sort of just, doing a little bit of that anyways, just having fun with my friends. And so it was, everyone's like, oh, I can't believe, he's such a good sport, she makes him do that. And it's more no, I really enjoyed doing it. So it was a very natural thing for me to sort of fall into. Being on camera is a little hard. She's so natural. She can memorize scripts. She can do all of this. Has a great acting background, great writing background. And I'm just sort of I don't know what to do on camera. What do I do with my hands? So still learning a lot about that.
Well, you just take a shot of whiskey and then you're great.
Yeah, basically, I have to drink to be comfortable on camera. She can just do it naturally.
I think we have an episode, or we will, on alcohol dependency. So we'll send that to you.
Great.
Maybe that'll be helpful.
Well,
Anxiety.
We drink in
every
casually,
episode. Yes.
in every episode.
Usually we
so-
hide it though. We put it in like a glass, and it
Yeah.
looks.
Well, because
maybe with a
Truly's
koozie.
not paying us for our 5 listeners
Yeah.
to.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Cool. So-
Really
yeah.
quickly, is Shawn and Loryn? This is the Shawn that wore like a bromper.
Yeah, so that's where I was. That's where
You're
I was
going
about
there
to
too?
say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Shawn, you're the reason why I have like 12 pairs of Chubbies now, and my go-to short length is at least a maximum 5-inch inside.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
That even feels like Jinkos now at this point.
Yeah.
I haven't made. You do
glad I
have
converted
a. You haven't got me to the Speedo yet. That is kind of your thing.
Chubbies are a gateway.
Yeah, exactly.
Gateway drug to
Oh my
Speedos.
God.
It's the gateway drug for
I
the
don't think
Speedo.
I realized you were a Speedo guy.
Oh yeah. He's a.
If you
he's
search
a big
Speedo on
guy.
Giphy, it's
I'm the number
Oh,
one.
yeah, there is one.
Yeah.
That-
Really?
Yeah, that's fantastic.
it's a guy on the beach with a Jito. It's a jean Speedo,
Yep.
and he's got his hands up,
No.
and he's going like that. He's gyrating.
And that's you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
me. I mean,
Yes, it is.
you wore one at your wedding, right? Didn't you do the
Yeah,
whole?
I
Made all your friends.
I made all my groomsmen wear American flag Speedos underneath, and then I made them all take their pants off in photos. And so I had this epic photo of Loryn and all the groomsmen with Speedos and their pants off.
Oh my God.
That is
memories.
absolutely amazing.
I just
It's one of my
updated my
favorite photos
phone.
of all time.
And I don't know where to find Giphy.
We'll find it.
So
Yeah,
I
I have it
want
on
it.
my phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Okay, so that's great. So you both have two very different, at least on paper, two very different careers, but now they've blended. So can you talk a little bit about kind of how that evolution worked and how that's impacted you guys as a couple? Because it sounds like you're not only living together and raising. Congratulations on the new baby, by the way. New-ish now. How old is she?
6 months on Saturday.
Okay, maybe that's not so new, but
That's
still,
still very
congratulations.
new.
It's new, Tony.
It's
Very
it's still-
new.
she'll never get not new.
It's her first 6 months of living.
Yeah, she is.
She's a half year old.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, so it's very, very new still. Well, either way, congratulations. She's adorable.
Welcome to the
but-
roast of Tony.
Oh gosh.
We should have done that instead.
So how does that work, or has it not had? Has it had any impact, positive or negative, or difficult really, on your relationship, kind of blending your work and personal lives?
You know, so when the pandemic hit, like 2018, up until 2018, I had a very traditional job. I had a 9 to 5. I was making videos for a women's YouTube channel, and it was a huge operation. They're owned by another company. Like they had huge budgets, and I did that
Was
for
that
like
clever?
5 years. What's that?
Was that clever?
That was Clever. So I
Okay.
did that for like 5 years, and then the company that owned Clever went under, and we all got 300 people got laid off out of nowhere. And I was just kind of like, it was the end of 2018. So I was like, Shawn, we have this opportunity where I could just give me 2019. We can we can pay our bills and everything with your salary. And I'm just going to try to make videos on my own in 2019. Not necessarily to see if this could be lucrative for me. If I just dedicate all of my time, not as a side hustle, but trying to be a full-time creator, then we can reassess. If it doesn't work, I will go back I'll find another producer job, at the end of the year or whatever. And so 2019 that's when we were doing more scripted, relationship comedy. But we basically had a full year of both working from home. Shawn has worked from home since he's worked for Backtrack, so it's
2013,
12,
yeah.
11 years.
Yep, same here.
And then in 2019, I'm working from home. So when the pandemic hit, a lot of people struggled working at home with their spouses or their partners or just being at home. And we had already been doing it for a year, so there was no transition in the pandemic. As unfortunate it was for a lot of people, it was really good for us and my workflow and my videos. And because I do everything myself, it is nice to have someone else to Shawn is really good at he'll come through and just plug in my batteries and then charge things for me, and like little things that if I had a production team, they would do. Like if he comes in for a snack, you know, and I've left out a microphone, like he goes and he puts it where it belongs. And so you might have a different take, but I feel like it's been amazing, even though it's not your job. Like if you could full-time help me with videos, that would be one thing. But the fact that you can't, it's really nice to have you around and nearby to help, even if you're not in the videos.
That's
so I think it's worked out really well, both being in this, you know, the same house. But that's not the whole question you asked, I guess, would be like, you know, there's a lot of people who do like family YouTube channels, right? It's a lot of people who do, their handle is Loryn and Shawn, right? For instance, I was like, I'm never going to do that. But people will be
never
like,
let me into her handle.
I've tried so hard. I plug in the batteries and do everything I can do. She won't give me her handle.
Ulterior motive.
It's always just going to be Loryn.
Yeah.
We'll get to you, Shawn. Don't worry.
There's a lot of like family channels that feel very, I don't know. I like we do the things that we do together, but I like that I can make my own stuff that's just Loryn. Yeah. And I don't know if we ever will just do like the Pal Casey, the Kapower YouTube channel. I'm not saying we wouldn't, but as we have like a baby and figuring out how much we want her to be a part of it, that's something we have to figure out.
Yeah, and I think for me, because I still have a full-time job, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be fully devoted to this, so I just try and help in the ways that I can. But it is a great outlet for me creatively, because it's like, all right, I'm working 9 to 5, but I still have this like creative urge. So when I can help at night when we shoot videos or on the weekends or whatever, it is a really fun sort of creative outlet for me. I think the one thing that sort of like we did have to set boundaries, right? Because Loryn's like, okay, I'm devoting all of my time to being a creator, you know, so she has all these ideas, she wants to shoot videos, and you know, at the beginning it was like, hey, can you come film? Can you, you know, and it was like, and I'm like, Loryn, like, pretend that I'm driving to an office and I'm not available to you, because like, you know, that, because like, yeah, we're both here, let's just go do it, but it's like, I still have to, you know, maintain my job. So you're way better now. That was just real at the very beginning, was like, we really need to sort of like, what does our time together look like, and what does, you know, my time at my job look like? So now it's very clear, and like my boss knows that I'll take an hour or two every now and then during the week if that's the time that we need to shoot that. And he's just happy too, because most of the time breathalyzers are involved somehow in the videos, and it's just free exposure for Backtrack. So he's very understanding on that. But yeah, I do try and keep a pretty like rigid, this is my time for Backtrack, this is my time for Kapow Productions.
That's cool. It's so Loryn she's kind of indirectly paying your salary at Backtrack too, with the sales from her videos.
You're right. You're completely right. So that's
so funny.
Your job is way more real than mine.
Loryn, we have salaries too if you want to pay ours.
Yeah. That's really what this video is. It was.
I'm paying someone to watch my child right now so that I can be on this podcast.
Well, thank you for doing that. Yeah.
I'll watch your child. I'll plug in your batteries. Take us
in my heart.
So what you guys just walked through is pretty much the exact same, I think, challenges that, and Loryn, you touched on this, that a lot of people had to figure out with COVID. A lot of people that had never worked from home, much less spent, you know, more than 4 hours with their significant other at any given time, except for the weekends. And now they're both working from home without their choice, and they had to kind of figure it out. So it's cool that you all were able to kind of learn the ins and outs of it when you had the choice to do it, which makes it a lot easier.
I mean, I think COVID sort of, you know, they said it amplified things, and if things were good, then it amplified it in a good way, and if things were bad, then it amplified in the bad, you know, in a bad way. So I guess we were lucky that like we had a good, strong relationship prior to that, and being stuck together actually was awesome. You know, it was like, oh, I'm just with my best friend 24 hours a day now, and we're having fun.
And it's acceptable to drink every day.
That is true.
It was almost required to drink every day. Yeah.
We made it through.
So it sounds, I mean, you both sound super creative, and I lack a lot of creativity, but how where does it come from for you? If at some point it's just like, I'm taking notes and I want to do this thing and I want to do this thing over here, but we gotta record it this time, but he's at work. Like, where does all of that creativity come from?
I mean,
inspired by things?
Yeah, totally. Video inspiration is just what happens in my day, what goes, we'll have a conversation and I'm like, oh, that'd be a really funny video. So we'll like write it down. Or for products, inspiration comes from them just releasing new stuff for me to try. Mm-hmm. And then I come from like a creative background. I've always been into my major was screenwriting and film production. And so I don't script my review videos, but I come up with like puns, really bad puns ahead of time. They're so bad you'd be like, you premeditated on that pun?
You decided on that? We went with it. Okay.
Yeah. So that it's just everyday things.
A lot of it is just like, hey, this is a funny conversation that happened between us, or this is a funny idea, or an argument that we had, but like at the end we're like laughing, like we're arguing about the stupidest stuff, and it's like, oh, that's actually a really funny video. And a lot of our ideas are, we want people to say, oh, this is me, or this is someone I know, or something like that, where it's like you want to be able to relate whatever topic that we're making, have people relate to either love that or hate it, or come at from whatever emotion, just like invokes a strong emotion in them.
Hopefully not hate.
Not hate,
I
but
can't deal with.
But like just completely disagree with how do you load the dishwasher, right? It's like these sort of like divisive, things, not like.
Are you Loryn or are you Shawn?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's good. So the one question that I think I'm curious about this with pretty much whether it's a movie star or a social media influencer or whatever, an adult entertainer, we'll go with that as well. The personality difference between what they project, so what they advertise as who they are, and then who they actually are. And I know there's some that are very, very different when they're not being recorded versus when they are. So can you talk a little bit about maybe what that looks like for you, and how, especially with the branding that you were doing that was a lot of like alcohol centric, that must have been difficult, when you guys got pregnant and having to like try to adjust that brand, which you guys did a fantastic job doing. But just kind of the dichotomy between your brand and you as an individual.
Well, it's funny, when I was the year we experimented, the like 2019 year where I was doing a lot more sketch comedy, I wasn't growing a following, even though I was usually playing an exaggerated version of myself, a scripted version of myself in relationship situations. But there wasn't like a strong following gained from that. And then in 2020, when I did How Many White Claws to 0.08, where it's just me being myself, having fun in the kitchen, and then I kept doing iterations of that, like I grew a following really quickly. And I feel like it suddenly became clear to me that like, oh, people are more interested in following personalities right now than they are necessarily like sketch characters. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of refreshing. It was like kind of nice to be like, oh, okay, this is me. I'm not playing a character. I'm not scripting myself to be perfect, to have the perfect line, to look, it's just, but granted, I do edit quite a bit of my drinking videos to give this illusion that I'm a good time. It's
not an illusion. If you film yourself drinking for 2 straight hours,
you're gonna be annoyed.
Yeah, so it's like, you need to distill that down into 3 minutes. So
I cut out. That's the only. People are like, man, you're so fun when you drink. When I drink, I'm so annoying, and I'm like, well, that's because I edited those parts out where I was so annoying. I didn't want to listen to myself in the editing bay. So as far as editing is an amazing tool when everything is unscripted and I'm relying on my personality to drive my business. Being able to make sure if I said something that I maybe didn't mean to say, or I sound too drunk, I never want to come across as sloppy or too drunk or annoying. It's funny, for something so edgy, like drinking is kind of like an edgy topic. I try to make it as clean as possible. Like, I rarely do sexual innuendos. I rarely swear. If I swear like a big swear word, I cut it or bleep it. It's like friendly drinking content.
Drinking for all ages, yeah.
Because it is such an edgy thing that I don't want everything else I'm doing to make it, to exacerbate that edginess, you know? So if I'm just like this wholesome character having a good time, being really safe, it I think makes it more appetizing. Like, it's not like a sloppy drunk girl. I know the videos are edgy, so I need to be clean.
Yeah, it makes it more approachable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point about, you know, a lot of the people on the comments are just like, oh, I wish we could hang out together. Like, it seems like you're just one of our friends. And so it is this very, like, and, you know, this isn't an act. Like, Loryn is just drinking and having fun. So there's no, you know, yes, she's editing it, but, like, your personality is still coming through. And I think that is how you've been so successful, is that it's very relatable. You know, it's like, I'm sitting in my kitchen drinking, or, you know, I'm with my kid, you know, whatever. And it's like, oh yeah, your followers are just versions of you who want to hang out with you.
Yeah.
We had a really funny story in San Diego. We were out with some friends and we were coming back, and this woman runs up to us and is like, Loryn! And she like goes to give Loryn a hug, and Loryn just sort of like froze, and the woman stopped and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe I almost just touched you. Like, I forget that we actually have never met, you know, but like, she feels that, you know, she wanted to give Loryn this big hug.
Nice.
She was so nice, but it was just like, she's like, and she realized, she's like, oh yeah, I just think of us as best friends. I know so much about you. I watch this, you know, and then she's like, can I hug you? And then they did, but it was just such a funny realization. Like, oh, I'm actually not best friends with you, but like, I feel like I am, you know?
People feel like they're like FaceTiming with their friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it goes both ways, honestly. Like, I have to, when dealing with comments, you know, people comment harsh things and I would take it personally. And I have to remember, I would take it personally as if this was a friend saying this to me. And I'd have to remember, like, oh, these aren't necessarily my peers. This person who's having this negative take on what I've done is not necessarily someone that I would ever surround myself with in real life. So does their opinion matter? To like take a step back and be like, it feels like we're all friends. It feels like all my followers are my friends and these commenters are our peers. But I have to like separate that and for my sanity. So it goes both ways.
It's a good point too that I wanted to talk to you guys about, because I'm sure that's a big part of what you deal with is people projecting their opinions onto you that you didn't ask for them, both good and bad, which I'm sure has pros and cons. But I feel like it's impossible, and we even talked about this when we watched the Tom Brady roast. Mm-hmm. Like some of them were so funny. I mean, they were hilarious. But even as I'm listening to it, I'm like, there's no way, even as a comedian, as they're getting roasted, like tiny little dings, like they've got to hurt. They've got to be thinking about it before they fall asleep and be like, does she actually think I'm the ugliest human that's ever lived? Like that's gotta sting a little bit. So how do you keep up with the comments so you know what the people who follow you are enjoying and not, and adjusting your material without internalizing, you know, so much of the negativity?
It's really hard. In the beginning, and I say beginning like pandemic era, where every video I made was basically going viral. For the most part, I was just doing what I wanted to do. I didn't have any feedback, like, other than views, right? I could just be like, all right, this performed really well. I'm going to do another one. It was White Claws to 0.08. Let's try it with Fireball. Oh, they like the seltzer reviews? Great. Let's do another seltzer review. You know, that was kind of amazing because I didn't have anybody in my head. I didn't have these little comments being like, you know, well, like, she's sloppy, she's faking it, whatever the comments were back then, where they get in your head, and a lot of this gets cut out, but a lot in my videos, I will like defend myself over a comment I think I'm going to receive, and I end up editing it out, but it's like cathartic to say it on camera. But I like projecting what I already know someone's going to complain about. And it's paralyzing. Like, it's stifling to feel like I am responsible for pleasing everyone and everyone's palates. And, you know, it sucks. Like, I wish I could go back to 4 years ago when I wasn't thinking about what the negative comments might be and just doing what was really fun.
And it's hard, you know, I always have to point out, like, hey, you got 10,000 comments and 9,999 of them are positive, and one person says something nasty, and that's the one you focus on, and that's the one that you're changing your next video for.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're forgetting that, you know, and you know, you're really lucky too, like you said this a lot, like, most of her followers are overwhelmingly supportive. You know, we see other creators who, like, it's 50-50, you know, and with her it's probably
hate following them.
Yeah, with her it's like 90-10, 95-5, you know.
I really only get negative comments if stuff goes viral and it reaches a corner of the internet that it wasn't intended to reach for the most part. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty lucky that my actual followers just have nice things to say. But it's hard to, like, there be a point where I will just scroll past comments telling me I'm amazing, looking for somebody shitting on me, like seeking it out. It's like, what is wrong with me? Why am I looking for these negative comments? Yeah, that was a lesson to learn. It's like, stop when the video goes viral, stop reading the comments.
Did you stop?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
I actually turned off the comments recently on a video that just kept getting comments. I was like, the video performed. I don't care. Turn comments off. It was a video of him throwing Quinn in the air. Somebody reported it for child abuse. It got taken down.
My God.
I got it reviewed. It got reinstated. But I hated seeing these comments about that. So I just...
That is a good testament to Shawn's core strength, though.
I've never posted anything that has received hate on the internet. I can only imagine how it would impact me. But I've seen it, right? You're scrolling through other people's videos or other people's posts, and you see just strangers on the internet saying nasty shit. Like, what is going on in this person's world where they thought they wrote it, they reviewed it, they hit send, and like they stand by it to another stranger on the. It blows my mind. Like, these are unhealthy people.
Yeah.
Like, on purpose trying to hurt other people.
Yeah. The humanity of it gets to me some days, where I'm just like, when I have never thought to go into a video and one that I dislike and comment something that I know the person's going to see. I've never thought to do. I keep scrolling or I unfollow. Like, the people who feel the need to take me down a peg or comment, I'm just like, it makes me so sad for, like, the humanity of what must be so bad in their lives that they need this interaction, or they need to take someone down a peg to feel better about themselves.
Or even just get attention. I remember that one woman, she said something nasty, and like, you commented back, and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm such a huge fan. I can't believe you commented." And it's like, you're such a huge fan, then why did you say that nasty thing? You know, like, it's
and she was like, "Well, you never reply to my nice comments."
It's not about you, lady. That's why.
Gosh. It is kind of an ironic reality, though, too, of it encourages the negativity, because those are the ones that people do seek out. They are the ones that stand. If you have 9,900 comments that are all saying the same positive thing, and then you got 100 that are not so good, those are going to draw your attention quicker, and unfortunately probably reinforce those people to keep doing that. But
I don't know. You got to be a very brave, solid person to be in your position and like continue to post and put yourself out there like that. Like, I don't think people consider what it takes to do what you're doing, and then they just like scroll through and throw out some like hate shit and move on with their day, and they feel a tinge better about maybe what they've said. But it's a wild thing to consider what people will say on the internet. They don't understand that it is actually connected to another person.
Yeah, I think we'll see people like, she'll post something on Facebook and people will be talking about her as if she's not the person who posted it.
Yeah.
They're just having this like conversation about some abstract painting on the wall, but it's like, no, the
Right.
person who made the content. It's her page.
They think it's like 3 steps removed and she'll never see it, or
Yeah.
that's crazy.
That's also a reality too. Like without knowing anything about how it works, how the social media influencer community actually works, it does seem like a celebrity that's kind of out of touch. It's not like me. So they must have a team of people that's doing all of this. It's actually pretty nuts to me that you do all the editing and you're doing all, like, you guys built your brand. It's the two of you guys together. There's not like a crew of people doing all of this. Yeah, but I think people assume that it is removed. They see you as maybe more of an actress than a person that's creating entertainment for another person.
Yeah.
I think it's partly that, and it's partly they want to get my attention. They want to people on, what is it, like water seeks its own level. Like happy people don't comment mean things.
Yeah.
Like hurt people, right? So I don't engage for the most part. I will every now and then reply if it's just something it's absolutely just ludicrous, and I know if I reply, my followers will like jump on.
Swarm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think something that you started doing, which is pretty funny, is like she'll just screenshot the comment and post it on her story.
Those are hilarious.
And just like it's probably
for the most part, I blur out usernames.
Yeah, but it's like cathartic for you to be like, hey, look at this a-hole. And everyone's like, yeah, that guy's an a-hole. And it's like, okay, I feel better. I got the agreement from everyone that...
That's probably not healthy that I do that either.
No, that's fantastic.
It seems healthy. Well, because you don't always have to be like the bigger person. Just because you are this, famous internet celebrity. Like, just because, like, people don't get to say shit to you just because they think you're two steps removed. Like, even if you were this beautiful painting on the wall, like, people can still keep their opinions to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's something that's always been a little confusing to us is, if I see a video that's not interesting to me, I just scroll past it. I don't need to like stop the video and say this is stupid. Like, we always joke, like, you're actually telling the algorithm that you want more content like that. Like, the longer you spend on that video by commenting on it, doing all those things, you're sending the exact opposite signal to the algorithm, and you're just going to see more of that content. Like, I don't understand why people like don't get that.
Yeah. So, go ahead. Sorry.
No, those people just need a diary. Get your feelings out.
Yeah, therapy.
Go to therapy. Yeah. Move along.
Someone did tell us that it actually is like the generation who's grown up on algorithms, that they're so used to seeing everything that's fine-tuned for them that once they don't see something that's fine-tuned for them, it makes them angry and they feel like they need to tell it. Where like older generations, like, we haven't had that our whole lives. And so like we're just used to watching TV and we see every commercial, whether it's fine-tuned to us or not. And so there is sort of a generational piece to it as well, where like you're just used to being served anything
perfectly curated
feed.
Yeah, man.
That's insightful.
That's really interesting too, because that's not unique to the internet algorithms too. It's I feel like, and I'm not trying to generalize a whole generation here, but the idea of people just not being comfortable with being around people that don't have the exact same opinions as them. Mm-hmm. And it's just creating like instant confrontation where we have kind of a tolerance for it because we grew up with that, and there's an expectation that not everybody's going to be like you, and that's actually a good thing. But it's interesting to kind of see it play out in that venue too. Mm-hmm. So with the negative comments, and then I think it's also probably something to consider with like the positive comments, just from being a secure human being and having so much attention. Is it what is that like just for your confidence up and down? Yeah, right.
Yeah, like when I could do breathalyzer videos, there'll be a week go by and maybe one of the videos that I didn't perform, and I'll be like, you know what? I just want to do a breathalyzer video. Like, I know it'll get views and I know I'll get comments and I just need an upper. I need my fix. You know what I mean? Like when videos don't perform well, I am down. I am like not depressed, but I am like, I didn't get my little dopamine hit that week from views, from comments. Like it negatively, when videos don't perform, but it also is, it's like, it's a whole slew of things. It's like, wow, I just spent a whole day editing a video that didn't perform. What a waste of my time. Right. So like, that's part of it. And the other part is like, yeah, I didn't get to read all the comments about how amazing I am or how funny I am. And now I'm just like, okay, that bombed. What do I do now? How do I get out of this? From there's like, negative comments, those hit me. Positive comments, that can't be good. You know, like reading great things about yourself all the time is what happens when that stops.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think the other piece, like there's a real monetary piece to it too, right? Like this is your career now. And if you have a month where none of your videos make any money, it's like, oh, is this done? Can I still do this? So there is like real life implications of videos not doing well and wanting to, more than just get views and likes. It's like that translates into the money that you make.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and you show up authentically, right? Maybe sometimes a cleaner version of yourself. Sometimes you edit out some of the other stuff, but like you show up as yourself. And so when it doesn't hit, it's like, well, what the hell? Do they not like me? I mean, it's a direct,
So, Shawn, since you're kind of supporting her career as a partner and just being there and cheering her on as she's doing this, when Loryn has a job like this and it's not a 9 to 5, like it's not a normal thing, you don't know necessarily what you're going to expect, what's going to happen, what's going to be said to you, how you're going to be feeling at the end of the day, because so many different things and variables could happen. What is that like for you from a support role of helping her stay steady and neutral? Because I bet there are some major highs and lows with that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of times where just like, metaphorically talking her off the cliff a little bit and just trying to be like, hey, yes, this is one bad comment, but let's look at a bunch of good comments. Or, like, hey, this guy is not your friend. Why do we care about him? So it's a lot of just sort of trying to refocus on the good stuff.
Or you come in and you'll see me scrolling and you'd be like, are you reading negative are you replying to negative comments?
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah. And so then I'll
no, yes.
Yeah.
She deletes.
But, I think for me it's a lot. Sorry, Jen, go ahead.
I was going to say she's like deleting all the negative.
Yeah.
She was going to talk back. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me it's a lot easier because I show up, I'm on camera for 5 or 10 minutes. She tells me, what's going to happen. And
sometimes.
Then but like, I'm not putting my heart and soul into every video like she is. It's like she's doing so much work all the time. So when she does get negative feedback, it's really hard. Where they're just like, oh, he's an idiot. He can't do that. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. So I'm not as like emotionally invested. So it's easier for me to like sort of try and like not shield her, but point her in the right direction and like redirect towards some of the positive stuff.
Well, you guys also live like a very full life outside of the internet, so I can imagine it impacts what you're doing for the rest of the day, or just plans that you have and how you exist as a normal off the internet couple and family.
Yeah. How does the Loryn, for you, the guardrails of time on your phone? Jen and I talk about this all the time, and we don't do this for our jobs, but the amount of hours a day we spend on social media is terrifying. So for you, like if I'm waking up and I'm checking Instagram and LinkedIn and whatever else I'm getting onto, and then I'm in bed and I'm doing it before I fall asleep,
There's only 2 times? That's it for you? Just
no, there's a few times in between.
Tony will be driving and checking LinkedIn.
I will.
LinkedIn specifically.
And that's because my job is associated with LinkedIn. So it's a lot of that. But in that same respect, for you, if your job is everything that's online and all these videos that you're putting out there and monitoring them and keeping track and tabs, like how do you not go for like the addiction of grabbing your phone and just constantly seeking that the
I don't.
confirmation? You
I
just
do.
don't?
I'm
Oh, you
constantly
do.
like, I check it, like, I don't check his phone, but I'm like, oh man, I need a you got a notification? What is it? You know, like,
Give me a
I
bump.
was
Give me a
like,
bump. Yeah.
yeah. I will like look over and his watch will be lighting up, and I'm like, this has nothing to do with me, but I feel like it's just a little hit, a little notification engagement hit.
But I think at the same time, yes, you are on your phone a lot, but like when you have to edit something, her phone is off or turned over and she's editing for 8 hours straight and getting it done. So like you don't let that affect your ability to make videos.
No. I actually think, and this is something I'm discovering now, the more I watch social media, because everyone is making videos now, everyone has gone viral once, like it's so oversaturated that I feel like the more time I spend on Instagram and TikTok seeing what someone has already done, the more creatively stifled I feel, because I'm like, well, that's already been done. That's already been done. I can't do this. Like, it actually is like toxic for me. And I can say that out loud, but I probably won't stop. But like, the more time I spend, the worse I feel about making videos.
Shawn, you just said something that I want to dig a little bit deep. You said Loryn does a good job of turning off her phone when she's working, so when she's editing. Where I could envision maybe some challenges would be when you're not editing. So when you guys are just living your lives, when you're making dinner, when you're watching a movie or whatever else. Is that a struggle of boundaries of disconnecting and just like being present in the moment if everything that you do is online?
Yeah, I think so, but it's not her content. Like you do a really good, it used to be I'm looking at all the comments, I'm looking at my own content. I think mostly when you're on your phone, it's not.
It's scrolling.
Yeah, it's not related to her specific content.
But I've definitely, like, I feel like I'm very good at, if we are at dinner, I am not on my phone. If we're on vacation, I'm like, vacation is first. If we get a video, if we get photos, fine. But I am like, I want those experiences, and I expect the same in return. Like, if we're at dinner, you're not on your phone. Like, the only time we really run into trouble is if we're trying to watch a TV show and like one of us wants to be on our phone. And
one of us wants to be on our phone.
And I'll be like, okay, I'm ready to watch my TV, and I put my phone down, and then you're on your, look over and you're on your phone. And I'm like, were we starting or are we not?
Yeah.
I have to parent her. I'm like, do we need more phone time or do we want to watch TV time? She's like, TV
to make
time.
a choice.
I'm like, I'll take your phone. Okay.
You do take my phone sometimes.
That's good. I do that every now and
then. It's actually gotten, because Quinn now is like,
oh yeah,
we never show her our phone, we never show her our watch, but like she's obsessed with those, and so we have to like actively keep them away from her. And so I think that's, at least for me, helped me. And like, when I'm with her in the room, I don't want to be on my phone when I'm watching the baby and playing with her.
Breaks that habit of, oh, I have a moment free, let me scroll on my phone.
If you could, we can close it out on this, but if Loryn, you've been doing this for so long, if you could give yourself some advice when you started, because I'm sure you've obviously grown a lot through this and learned a lot about yourself, and what would you tell yourself that would maybe help you process this kind of career path that you've done at an earlier age?
Probably there's room for everyone. Like, just because someone else, there's, not everyone is your competition. There will be room for like everyone. You don't have to like, it felt like a fight to the death. It felt like only one could win, only one could succeed. And it's like, no, there is room for everyone to succeed.
Internet's a large place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So just kind of, you're competing with yourself type thing instead of competing with everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best advice to give myself right now. Is that's what's so discouraging when I scroll through the internet and there's so many things. Is like, there's something for everyone. So there's no need to be like, well, this person did that, so now I can't. There is room for literally everyone to have success. And that kind of correlates with a lot of how I behaved, when I was working at Clever. When I worked at Clever, there were 10 other on-screen female talent that I was like fighting I wanted to be on-screen talent, you know? So I think like having this mentality that like there's a time and a place for everyone to have their moment. I think would have helped me in my 20s.
Yeah, that's good. All right, last question. Do you guys all hang out, like all the influencers? Do you guys all know each other? Because you see videos and pictures of everyone at these parties. What is that? Is there some like back connection, dark web where...
I think a lot of influencers get invited to the same events. And so, especially if you're in the same vertical. So like I follow plenty of drink related influencers and a lot of times they follow me back. And so when you finally meet that person that you're both engaging with their content or something, you see them at an event, I think it's just like the worlds collide. A lot of beauty influencers, whatever, they're all getting invited to the makeup influencer events. Like, I think I don't necessarily know that they're hanging out outside of those events though.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And I think it's more prevalent in LA. If you're in LA, you're definitely meeting more people. San Diego, it's a little bit smaller market. So,
yeah.
But I mean, like, I think there is something to be said about Loryn is at a point where she sees another influencer in San Diego. There's this girl named What Erica Craves, and she does food and drinks and just what to do in San Diego. And Loryn reached out to her, and like they're kind of friends now, and they go back and forth. And so
we've
like,
never met
in real life, but like they're friends. But like if you had an opportunity to hang out with her and go to an event, like you would.
Sure. And there's this girl, her name is Nikki Unplugged. She's this big, like, she's got a huge Boston accent. She's like a mom. Anyway, she will send me voice message. Like, she's got a huge following, and she will send me voice messages on Instagram. So I think there's a lot of conversations like going on behind the scenes. Even if influencers aren't hanging out in real life, they are talking to each other in DMs and like being internet friends.
Yeah, I think there's like a mutual respect and just like, hey, I respect and I like the content that you're making, and I'm constantly trying to get her to reach out to people to like, for ideas, for partnerships. She like will not do it. So
I don't it's a fear of rejection. So.
But then like when someone does it to you, you're happy to talk to them. So that's like, why wouldn't they be happy to talk to you if you reached out to them?
We gotta go.
Yeah.
Time to go.
That what you just said is a good way to end it, actually, and that's why I'm sure it's a big part of why you've been so successful is you saying it's fear of rejection, like you having genuine humility in the way that you just carry yourself, and you don't have any expectation of, you deserve this stuff because you're that talented and good. You're just showing up and hoping people enjoy what you're putting out there, and it's genuine and it's working.
It could go away. Nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is constant. Like anything could go away at any second. So I'm just fighting, working hard every day to, be able to continue to do this.
Yeah. Well, you're crushing it. You're both crushing it. So good luck to the future of Kapower Hour and Loryn Powell. Maybe someday Loryn Powell with Shawn Casey. I don't know. It's an idea. It's possible. But yeah, thanks so much for joining, guys. Did you have anything else, Jay?
We could talk about this forever.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Tell Us More About That. Don't forget to subscribe on whatever platform it is that you're listening to us on, and also leave us a rating and review.
If you have any topics you would like us to consider, if you have any feedback or commentary, only if it's positive, please visit www.tellusmoreaboutthat.com.
Thanks again for joining in, and we will see you next time.
See ya.